Welcome to Trump Wire, your trusted source for breaking headlines, global insights, and sharp analysis from around the world. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Sir Creek, a desolate and winding estuary that snakes its way between the borders of India and Pakistan, has long been a place of quiet tension. Its muddy banks and shifting channels have witnessed decades of uncertainty, but now, this remote stretch of land and water is at the center of a rapidly escalating crisis. Once overlooked by the world, Sir Creek has become a flashpoint for military confrontation. Troops from both sides are on high alert, patrolling the harsh terrain, with a vigilance that speaks to the gravity of the situation. Armored vehicles rumble across the barren landscape, and the air is thick with the tension of impending conflict. The region, which was previously considered a low-grade dispute, now finds itself transformed into a potential battlefield. Indian and Pakistani forces stand face to face, their eyes locked across the narrow creek, each side determined not to yield an inch. The standoff is more than a show of strength. It's a signal that neither nation is willing to back down. This estuary, separating India's Gujarat from Pakistan's Sindh, is more than just a geographical boundary. It is a living symbol of unresolved history, a place where old wounds remain open and the threat of war lingers in the salty air. The dispute over Sir Creek dates back to colonial times, and its legacy continues to haunt the present. As the world watches, the rhetoric from both sides grows increasingly hawkish. International news outlets broadcast images of troop movements and heated exchanges, while global leaders urge restraint and call for dialogue. Yet, behind closed doors, diplomatic discussions are fraught with suspicion and mistrust, making a peaceful resolution seem ever more elusive. The barren expanse of the Rann of Kutch, once a quiet salt marsh, has now become a chessboard for military strategists. Generals from both nations pore over maps, planning their next moves with the knowledge that a single miscalculation could trigger a catastrophe. Every maneuver, every deployment is weighed with the utmost caution, for the stakes could not be higher. But the conflict is not just about land. The resolution of this territorial dispute is closely tied to the demarcation of exclusive economic zones in the Arabian Sea. Beneath the waters lie vast reserves of oil, gas, and other resources, wealth that could shape the future of both nations. Control over Sir Creek means control over these riches, adding another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. Ultimately, the battle for Sir Creek is about more than just lines on a map. It is a struggle for territorial integrity, national pride, and economic security. As both countries dig in their heels, the world holds its breath, hoping that reason will prevail before the next spark ignites a fire that could engulf the entire region. Once a remote and largely overlooked marshland, Sir Creek has now become one of the most militarized and closely watched border regions in South Asia. The narrow winding estuary, which separates India's Gujarat state from Pakistan's Sindh province, is now lined with military outposts, barbed wire, and constant patrols. Both nations have transformed this disputed stretch into a symbol of their military readiness and strategic intent, with soldiers on both sides maintaining a constant state of alert. In a clear demonstration of its military capabilities, India has launched a massive tri-services exercise, codenamed Trishul, right in the heart of the Rann of Kutch. This exercise brings together the Indian Army, Navy, and Air Force, all working in close coordination to simulate real-world combat scenarios. The drills are designed not only to test operational readiness, but also to send a strong message of deterrence to any potential adversary. The Indian Army has deployed a formidable array of assets, including state-of-the-art tanks, armored vehicles, and attack helicopters. These forces maneuver across the harsh desert terrain, practicing rapid mobilization and coordinated assaults. The presence of such heavy weaponry so close to the border underscores India's determination to defend its territorial claims and maintain a posture of strength. Meanwhile, the Indian Navy and Air Force are making their presence felt as well. Advanced warships patrol the nearby Arabian Sea, while squadrons of fighter jets roar overhead in tightly choreographed formations. These displays of naval and aerial power are intended to showcase India's ability to project force across multiple domains, further raising the stakes in the region. Pakistan, in turn, has responded swiftly and decisively. The country has closed its airspace in the region, signaling heightened alertness and a willingness to escalate if necessary. Pakistani forces have launched their own military exercises, mobilizing troops, aircraft and armored units to counter India's maneuvers and demonstrate their own preparedness. This tit-for-tat escalation has created a highly volatile and unpredictable environment along the border. Soldiers on both sides remain on hair-trigger alert, watching each other's movements through binoculars and night vision scopes. The risk of miscalculation or accidental confrontation has never been higher, as each side seeks to assert dominance without crossing the threshold into open conflict. Intelligence sources have revealed that Pakistan has been steadily investing in long-term military infrastructure near Sir Creek. Satellite imagery shows new bases, fortified bunkers, and supply depots being constructed along the coastal region. These developments suggest that Pakistan is preparing for a sustained military presence, further entrenching the standoff. The combination of India's large-scale offensive drills and Pakistan's defensive buildup has transformed Sir Creek from a quiet estuary into a flashpoint of military tension. With both sides digging in and reinforcing their positions, the region now stands as one of the most dangerous and unpredictable borders in the world, where even a minor incident could have far-reaching consequences. The military maneuvers along the tense India-Pakistan border are not just routine exercises, they are a show of strength, a calculated display meant to send a clear message to the other side. Tanks rumble across rugged terrain, soldiers move in tight formations, and the air is thick with anticipation. These drills, often conducted within sight of the opposing forces, are as much about psychological warfare as they are about preparedness. Each side watches the other closely, measuring intent and resolve, knowing that even a small miscalculation could have serious consequences. These military activities are accompanied by a dangerous war of words, as officials from both nations take to podiums and press conferences to issue stern warnings. The rhetoric is sharp, sometimes inflammatory, and designed to rally domestic support while intimidating the adversary. News channels broadcast these statements around the clock, amplifying the sense of crisis and urgency. Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh made a high-profile visit to the front lines, standing shoulder to shoulder with troops stationed in the most volatile sectors. In his address, he issued a stern warning to Pakistan, cautioning against any misadventure and reaffirming India's readiness to respond decisively to any provocation. His words were not just for the enemy, they were meant to reassure the nation and boost the morale of the armed forces. In response, Pakistan's naval chief, Admiral Naveed Ashraf, delivered his own message of defiance. Speaking at a naval base, he vowed to defend Pakistan's maritime frontiers with unwavering determination. The Admiral's speech underscored the country's resolve to protect its sovereignty at all costs, signaling that any threat would be met with forceful resistance, not just on land, but at sea as well. This exchange of warnings and counter-warnings reflects a hardened stance on both sides, with leaders digging in and leaving little room for dialogue or compromise. The space for diplomacy is rapidly shrinking, replaced by a climate of suspicion and brinkmanship. Soldiers remain on high alert, and the border becomes a stage for nationalistic posturing. The heated rhetoric does not just affect the military, it seeps into civilian life as well. News bulletins, social media, and public discussions are dominated by talk of conflict. Civilians living near the border are briefed by soldiers, and communities brace themselves for the possibility of escalation. The atmosphere is tense, with families anxiously following every development, aware that their lives could be upended at any moment. The gravity of these statements and the visible military buildup have raised alarms far beyond the subcontinent. International organizations, including the United Nations, have called for restraint, while global news outlets report on the rising tensions with growing concern. Diplomats scramble to prevent a further escalation, holding emergency meetings and urging both sides to step back from the brink. When leaders speak of changing geography or defending every inch of territory, it signals a hardening of positions and a refusal to compromise. These statements are not just political theater, they are signals to the military, the public, and the world that neither side is willing to back down. Maps of disputed regions are displayed on television screens, and every word is analyzed for hints of intent. These are solemn commitments, made in public and before the world, raising the stakes and making it increasingly difficult for leaders to de-escalate without appearing weak. High-ranking officers confer in hushed tones, and soldiers steel themselves for whatever may come, knowing that the decisions made in distant capitals could soon affect them directly. The cycle of threat and counter-threat adds a volatile psychological dimension to the military buildup, fueling a sense of inevitability about conflict. As headlines grow more dramatic and the world watches anxiously, the region stands at a crossroads, one where words and actions alike have the power to shape the future. Sur Creek, a seemingly inhospitable strip, holds immense strategic and economic importance. Control over its channel is critical for maritime security for both India and Pakistan. The creek's location impacts the demarcation of exclusive economic zones, rich in hydrocarbons. Securing future oil and gas sources is a national security priority for both nations. The economic stakes are high, with potential revenue and energy resources at risk. The region is also a rich fishing ground, leading to frequent detentions of fishermen. Resolving the dispute could unlock economic potential and enhance maritime security. Failure to resolve it ensures the creek remains a multifaceted problem. The tensions in Sur Creek are rooted in a history of conflict predating India and Pakistan's creation. The dispute began during the British Raj over the boundary between Kutch and Sindh. The most significant military confrontation occurred in 1965, escalating into a full-fledged conflict. The arbitration awarded most of the RAN to India, but left Sur Creek unresolved. The 1965 conflict established the RAN as a viable theater for warfare. The timing of current exercises echoes past military buildups. Diplomatic efforts have repeatedly stalled due to broader crises. The dispute has become remilitarized, heightening the risk of future conflict. This unresolved history could ignite a future conflict. The Sur Creek dispute hinges on conflicting interpretations of a century-old boundary line. India bases its claim on the Thalweg Doctrine, advocating a mid-channel boundary. Pakistan rejects this, citing a 1914 resolution placing the boundary on the eastern bank. The dispute impacts the demarcation of exclusive economic zones. Pakistan's claim would expand its zone at India's expense. The deadlock is between two irreconcilable legal interpretations. This all-or-nothing stance leaves little room for compromise. The dispute remains a major stumbling block in negotiations. The standoff of October 2025 is the climax of a year of escalating aggression. Tensions spiked after a terror attack in Pahalgam, leading to India's Operation Sindoor. Pakistani forces engaged in unprovoked shelling, shattering the region's calm. Intelligence reports indicate a military buildup near Sur Creek. This cycle of action and reaction has eroded trust and closed off diplomatic avenues. Each incident justifies the next aggressive step. The nations are locked in a dangerous momentum toward conflict. As military exercises continue, Sur Creek is on a knife's edge. The risk of accidental escalation is dangerously high. A minor incident could spiral into a full-blown conflict. Even a limited war would have devastating consequences. The nuclear dimension adds a terrifying risk. Economic fallout would be severe, disrupting global supply chains. The path forward requires strong leadership to pull back from the brink. To avert conflict, the priority must be de-escalation through communication. Hotlines between military leaders should be activated to reduce tensions. Restoring communication is the first step toward avoiding war. Diplomatic off-ramps could involve back-channel diplomacy. A phased withdrawal of forces would be a crucial confidence-building measure. Reviving talks on the Sur Creek issue could lead to a lasting settlement. Leaders must recognize that the costs of war outweigh any benefits. Sur Creek could be reframed as an opportunity for cooperation and shared prosperity.